Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new installment of It's Easy to Like Anime, where we'll be talking about One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 5. I'm your host and moderator, Michael Damiani. I'm joined by Ben Moore,
Yo!
Michael Huber,
Hello.
and, the newest, what was it called? The tournament starts or tournament arc starts?
The
Something?
tuning exams.
Tuning exams. I like that,
Yes.
Huber. That's a good name for it as the official name. You gotta believe it. It's really the name.
The world's strongest. What is it? Oh my god!
It's called
Dragon
World's
Ball-
Strongest.
My Dragon Ball fandom has lapsed.
There's this World's Strongest.
What's the tournament called though? Just in
Oh,
DBZ.
Tournament of Power?
Tournament of Power.
That's Dragon Ball Super.
Okay. What about Z?
Oh,
Or normal
it's
Dragon
a
Ball.
Tenkaichi tournament.
Tenkaichi. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm terrible.
we were going from One Punch to Naruto to Dragon Ball. It was like a sea of anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? As odd as that sounds, it kind of encapsulates my kind of feelings on this episode, in that I felt this was an improvement. Much more, I was very much more interested in this episode. But I felt like there was so much introduced in this episode, I felt a tiny bit overwhelmed. But I do like that we're starting to see these new threads about where they're actually going with all this stuff they introduced in the last episode, in terms of like these new monsters, and there's a monster association apparently. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. And then
Yeah.
Garo, all like, he seems to have a thing for like children or something, because the little boy at the almanac, he just
Yep.
like had like casual friendly conversation with him, and then Metal Bat's sister shows up and he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna, next time, bud.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something going on with that, right?
Yeah, because when he was a kid, that's when
Right.
he liked the monsters. So maybe he thinks of, kids haven't made their choice yet in becoming like heroes or what they want to do with their life, maybe. So he just kind of wants to leave the kids alone. Like they're innocent, obviously, but like maybe it's that perspective of like, I was a kid too. Let them make up their mind.
Let them
before
follow their own path.
Let them follow their own
Yeah.
path before I come in and like kill everyone. Yeah.
For sure. And with all this chaos going on, we also have a tournament going on. So yeah, like I kind of said how I felt. Yeah, how did you both kind of like feel about this episode?
First of all, great post-credits scene.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
yes. Oh yes. So good.
Huge improvement for me, and in every way. I actually thought Metal Bat was way cooler in this episode than he was the last episode, so that was nice. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Damiani, about being overwhelmed. I think that's fair. I don't remember most of the names of the characters that were introduced this episode.
Yeah.
But I actually thought they handled it pretty well. Them introducing this monster association makes sense, kind of having like a side to be on against this other side, this hero side that we've been developing for a season and a half now, or whatever it is, has been really great. And they kind of made all the parts interesting. I thought the introduction of the monster association was really interesting. I thought Garo and his own individual storyline with Metal Bat was really interesting, and the fight was not bad.
Yeah.
And the tournament. I thought I was going to feel like they didn't give me enough tournament, but what they did show was pretty great, and then the post-credit scene helped a lot. And I actually think that's really hard for a show to do. I think of like Game of Thrones, where in earlier seasons I would have a lot of episodes where I'm like, we didn't really spend enough time anywhere. And I didn't get that feeling here. There was a lot of things introduced, but I thought they handled it well, and I thought the pace of the episode was pretty good.
Yeah, and the Monster Association definitely raises the stakes yet again. They've been doing a really good job of raising the stakes, and now that the monsters are like teaming up, it's not just random monster attacks here and there. It's like, wow, they're like assembling together, and attacking, coordinated attacks. So it's gonna be interesting to see going forward, like how the humans and the heroes are really going to have to band together. And because for me, it has felt like the humans are always competing with each other, of like, oh, I'm a higher rank than you. They have the psychic girl of like trying to, that whole storyline of her and her crew and trying to, keep everyone in line. And it's like everyone needs to put aside their differences and come together, because now the monsters are like on the same page.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see that the monsters, one, they miscalculated, but it was kind of in their favor. They didn't realize how strong they were. They kept saying, and how
It's
weak
funny.
their opponents were. They were clearly they were much more organized, which kind of I think plays into the fact that the heroes sometimes like don't even show up, even when
Yeah.
they're called to. They just like do what they feel like it. And
Yeah,
there's no
like
like,
Metal Knight.
yeah, there's not a real sense of coordination, despite there being a hero association. But then like this monster association, they clearly had objectives. Like they said, like, hey, don't just get the hostages. That's all we need. This isn't the final fight. That's not even a real Metal Knight in there. Like that was one of our objectives. We don't know why that was an objective, but they're like, yeah, let's back off. Like this is a waste at this point. We don't need to do anything further. Whereas the humans, it seem like they can't handle it. They're overwhelmed because they do simultaneous attacks against all the different cities. And you just saw back at the hero session, it's like, what do we do? Like we can't. How do we counter this?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was like showed it a good kind of like, or, good. They need to take a good long hard look in the mirror about what do we do against this, and like what is the hero association. I think we'll see some repercussions from that. Maybe some heroes stand up and step up to the plate, and some others are just like, why am I really in this? And you saw that in the tournament because they referenced like lower seeds, and they viewed people who went the hero route viewed as taking the easy way and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's maybe some also like a stigma or kind of like just some backlash against heroes who join it just for
The fame.
yeah,
Yeah.
like as you said, it's about fame and not about doing the right thing.
Damiani, I believe you mentioned it during the episode, but it's interesting that we have this whole Saitama tournament arc going on while this monster attack is happening, and it'll be interesting to see now that Blizzard is in there fighting, and then we saw Tornado in the thumb for the next
Yep.
episode, like just this kind of crisis happening, maybe without Saitama's knowledge at all, and kind of how they respond to it, and like Tornado, I think is really interesting because we haven't really gotten a great sense of her full strength. Like we've seen her here and there and a little bit of like big powerful stuff, but I'd like to see kind of a more prolonged battle, and through that maybe a deeper dive into her character.
Yeah.
But something that really this episode really hit for me is I didn't really care about the villains in season 1. They either didn't have much of a backstory at all, or when they did have a backstory, it was very one-dimensional, jokey almost in some cases. But here, like, Garo, I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what's going on. And him getting involved with this association, that could mean you have other villains kind of the same caliber, and how are they going to influence each other? What things are they going to take from each other? And it's also great that you have this association because you just get you get a bigger chance to have even more ridiculous designs, like that Birdman thing.
Yeah, did a
was-
hand
yeah,
like
yeah.
now,
Phoenix
right?
Man.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's something that I really appreciate the show about the show, and has always been true, but I think is especially true now. Is it's like when they introduce a new hero villain, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, and that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Rocksteady.
Oh yeah, we saw
Rocksteady,
that
dude.
Rocksteady.
Yeah,
that was
just
pretty-
straight Rocksteady. Yeah.
pretty nice.
Rhino Man.
One small thing, even though mentioned by name in this episode, which is funny because it's continuing his cover story, King. King's busy fighting an important fight, but we unfortunately don't get to see him in this episode. I think it was like the first episode we actually don't see him in, unless I forgot he wasn't in last episode. But aside from that, the one thing I think I'm gonna interested to see going forward is I feel like there's kind of like they're laying the groundwork for maybe kind of a third faction. You have the heroes, you have the Monster Association, but I feel like Garo walks a line in between because he did outright reject them. He's like, nah, like tears it up, like get out of here. I'm actually not about you. Even though I sympathize with the like monsters, I'm like what you're pitching me, I'm not buying it. So I wonder if he walks like kind of like a middle ground, like a gray line or something like that, where he doesn't support either and he has like his own path. I wonder if others will be drawn to that. I can actually see like Saitama, because he's not into the whole fame and everything like that. He I feel like there's jokes about it, but when it comes down to it, he gives those speeches about, like what the hell, like do like, I just want to be like a hero, do like, the right thing and stuff. I wonder if him and Garo actually like get along, even if it's like a rivalry. They still like I respect you. I expect them to fight together at some point in the
It's
season.
gotta
At this
happen.
point. I feel like it. I feel like that's gonna happen. I don't
gotta
know.
happen.
I don't know if that's crazy. I feel like that's gonna happen.
I want them to do the trope of they fight together and then they fight each other.
Definitely.
Oh,
I'm here for it. I don't care if it's been done a million times.
Yeah.
It's always awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like how Saitama's power just continues to be not acknowledged, whereas here when he won, they were like, "Oh, that guy actually must have just been really weak."
Yeah, weak sauce.
And the ways that they keep like refusing to acknowledge that strength is hilarious and works.
Really well done, for sure. That was a really good line.
Yeah. It speaks to that, like, that society, the show that people, the lengths people will go to like convince themselves of things rather than facing the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's like there's a motif of season 1, and it's like still coming into play here. It's not like one of the largest themes, but you know, I feel like that's what like Garo's trying to like do as well. It's like force everyone like, you know, here's what this is a reality check. A lot of you aren't great. These Monsters Association coming, like, you guys, like, we thought we respected you because you had this organization, but you're really nothing. Like, oh crap, you know, well, whatever, we'll just roll over you and stuff. I do feel like there is an upper echelon though. Like, they ignore the normal rankings we hear, like Tatsumaki, Tornado Girl, like obviously Saitama, like Genos, some of the characters we saw at the end, the last 2 episodes of last season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they are legit.
The 18.
And like they like a lot of this stuff they could like also just like raffle stomp as well. And I think they're saving. I mean, like hopefully next episode we'll see some of that. It's like, okay, there really is a much bigger divide. Like there are these like people who just want to, whether for fame or they like just skilled martial artists. Like that's what Garo keeps pointing out. They're just brute force people. They're just strong, but they don't really know any techniques. They don't know anything else. And once you come across someone who knows how to actually like counter you with strategy, you're nothing to them. Yeah. So I feel like we might see like more of that divide going forward.
Totally.
Yeah. Whew. How do you feel about the fight between Metal Bat and Garo? Like, because it carried over from like the last time. I felt like it felt more satisfying this time.
Because for me, I'm always about feeling the punches. You know, get a couple good hits in there, and for me, it just makes the fight so much better. Like Dragon Ball Z, I think of. You know, I'm never about the. I'm about the like one boom. You know. So they threw in like 1 or 2 of those, and that just makes the whole fight, for me personally, better.
Yeah, I didn't think it was amazing by any stretch, but there was something that we've talked about before on previous episodes of this show is how the action needs to sell what the character is about, and you really get that here, where I got this sense that through the animation, through the fight itself, that Garo is this really nimble, quick, precise, lethal fighter, and I liked that, and I loved his response to Metal Bat, where he's like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you keep getting hit, and you keep getting stronger, and I love that the difference in their fighting styles, and you felt it. You felt that through how they talked and how they interacted, and I got a much better sense specifically for Metal Bat's character through that, and I like that a lot.
I appreciated the like panels too when he was like stopping the bat precisely. That was really cool.
I like the showing the after effects of that.
Yeah.
Like Garo actually like, oh, that was super easy, but then like his hands are kind of shaking from like the impacts. Like, oh, you know, was he actually that strong? Huh? You know, maybe a little bit like respect as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you know, his decision to like not finish him off there, but also, I obviously don't read the manga. I don't want manga spoilers, but I get the sense that he's actually not about killing anyone.
No.
Like he's just about like showing he's better than everyone. Yeah.
He hasn't killed anyone.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Right?
I don't think he has killed anyone, actually. We thought we were wrong and he killed someone, but then someone clarified later that was not the case. They were just like very badly injured.
Like Ryder and Tank
Moomin
Top
Rider
were both just hospitalized. Yeah.
Let's talk about real quick names. You just remind me names. What was the King Kong spoof or Donkey Kong one? What was Heavy Kong or something?
Heavy Kong
like, what?
was killed or like beat up by something gorilla, like Master Gorilla or something.
And then there was the one who could enchant you with like her whip, and then like turn you to like against each other.
A love slave.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Marshall Gorilla.
There you go.
Has like the bandolier of bananas.
Yes.
So
he starts eating one too. They're not even weapons. He's like, yeah, this food.
There's no subtlety with these characters, and it's perfect. Like, man. Bandoliers of bananas. Yeah, that's a good way to do Marshall Gorilla.
Yeah, and Rocksteady was cool. I hope he comes back.
I
like
mean,
that little crew now of like the Ooze and Phoenix.
yeah, like jellyfish or something.
Yeah.
Like something jellyfish. Yeah, and then like Garo even fought it and was like, "Oh, you should be dead by that," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Whoop, nope, you're not."
It's also really threatening and scary that giant centipede just like acknowledged the order to retreat. You know, nothing could have taken that centipede out. You know, Metal Knight was doing everything, not even a scratch. Like that centipede could have destroyed everything. And they're like, "Yo, we're leaving." He's like, "All right." Like answering to a higher,
Yeah, who's
It makes
that
you think.
person?
It
Yeah.
makes you think like, what else are they hiding?
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to see that reveal.
Yeah.
Of who's their like leader and stuff.
Yeah.
Very intense.
On my mask.
On my mask. For sure.
I mean,
On my mask
I would
issues.
believe it. Yeah, for sure.
I was really me all along. I was a villain.
Yeah, dude. Then what if Garo is like upset about that? Some like other human becomes like the leader of the monsters. He's like, "What?"
Gets offended by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do have 2 questions from our patrons that were submitted that we picked for this episode. First one's from John. It's kind of a nice look back at what we've seen so far, and basically, what's your favorite moment that happened in season 2 so far? And if you can remember, what was your favorite moment in season 1? Actually,
My favorite moment in season 2 happened in episode 1 with King, and I don't know if it'll be topped. Like, I just had kind of a reaction of pure joy to everything that King is, how they handle him, his interactions with Saitama, the repeated jokes. But yeah, all the King stuff for
Yeah.
season 2. Season 1, I'd have to think.
I have one for season 1 while
Okay.
you're trying to think.
Go for it.
When they finally take the exam results, and like obviously Saitama like broke all the records, and then Genos like, I got an S or whatever, you guys ranking, and
Yeah.
then Saitama's pulling it out and only pulls out the top half, and it's top of the C, so you only see like the first curve, and just like as expected, you also got an S,
yeah.
and then he finally pulls it out, and he's like, oh, I got a C and
Yeah.
stuff, because he's like, the written part's the easiest, and he like really did bad on the written part, so I was
Totally.
like, yeah, this like. The comedy element from like the first season was really good. I felt.
I thought of a moment from season 1 that I really liked. It's also from episode 1, where you see Saitama dreaming about how he wants the fight to go, and I thought that was just so brilliantly executed and really like showed us kind of like the very unique frustration that Saitama has when he had that whole huge elaborate sequence and the reality just was so sharp and short. It was really, really well done. Yeah.
Season 1, probably Moon Rider's speech. Definitely a highlight.
Anything moving around.
Yeah, just, you know. I love that kind of like speech.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Never give up, you know, like and season 2 so far, probably the tank top master, man. I'm really into him. He's my style. Brute force, very like Streets of Rage type character. So I hope Tank Top Master comes back, because I'm invested.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you one season 2 moment. The sidestep Saitama against Speed of Sound Sonic. It was just like
Yeah.
I can't make up. There's more ridiculous names. I don't have a name for this. You just fast sidestep and wins. It was like, yeah, that's just typical fashion right there. I love that.
Man, Moomin Rider and Saitama getting ramen.
Yes.
Oh
That was
yeah.
pretty good.
The thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, because that's a note. That was a note from
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you think it's like could be any
I
fan?
might
That's
have
the
to.
one, yeah.
I might have to change it to that.
And it was just the coziest
Yeah.
scene ever.
It was like
So cozy.
Moomin Rider's spinoff win.
Yeah.
yeah. Make that happen.
I hope they don't use him as some like Coulson-esque sacrificial, like he dies and all the heroes are like, we gotta come together. Like, feel like it kind of is leading there. Like,
So,
they
chat.
better not.
I've been spending the entire evening with Huber. I think in every little situation that we've been in, he's brought up Coulson. Like it didn't
This is
matter
the
what.
third
we
time. This is the third time.
I think it's been more than 3. I think he's mentioned Coulson like 5 times.
He's on the mind.
Yeah.
He's not gonna rest till he gets that like dedicated Coulson movie.
Hey, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Friday, baby. Let's go.
We got we kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's a question from Sean. Essentially, did you feel that this episode was overwhelming because of the sheer amount of characters introduced? So let's like the amount of characters actually. Let's forget about like all the plot points, but you were even mentioning, I think, like trying to remember everyone's name.
Yeah.
Volume wise, there were a lot of characters introduced this episode.
So I can totally see why you and Sean would say like, oh man, this is overwhelming. I think what I had in the back of my mind was just like, okay, I just need to know what this character looks like. Like there'll be more of them.
Yeah.
And so the name thing didn't trip me up too much, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. I thought it worked out okay. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Emmy and 123 in chat basically, yeah, the Tournament of Heroes introduction. That was the moment where I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I also assumed Saitama was
lot
to
of
like
them
one
are
punch all of
filler.
them in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like this is the point you don't need to remember
Right,
them
yeah,
because
exactly.
this is not going to be that important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also harder, obviously, because it's like subtitles, you know, especially too when they show the name. It's like the kanji, and it's like definitely harder to follow. So I'm kind of just like doing the best I can.
I felt the same way at the end of season 1 with where they at the very end of the season they introduced a lot more of the kind of top rank heroes and I struggled remembering them, but eventually we got more of them and I'm sure it'll be the same thing. Like they're just introducing them here, it'll get better over time.
Before we go to some like final thoughts, I do have a question for chat. We're watching this on Hulu. Any of you watching Hulu? Does like the sync of the subtitles, like, is it off for you? Because like for the last like few episodes for us, it's
Yeah.
been off.
Like,
It felt really bad last episode. This
Yeah.
episode wasn't quite as bad for me, but yeah, the sync
It
of the
just-
subtitles can be weird.
It feels like it just starts drifting after time. I don't know if it's an us thing or if anyone else experienced that, but I'm just kind of curious. But we're watching on Hulu, yeah, with subtitles.
Yeah, I don't know if it's our setup.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because we're going through the shiny bone and everything
Yeah.
is adding some extra delay. But it
Probably.
feels like the video though, and the video and audio is coming from the same source. It would have to be. I feel like it's the player or something. We're just
Yeah.
something's wrong on our end.
I just know even with
Yeah.
games, I have like some issues sometimes when I plug my computer into a big TV. You know, just
Yeah.
feel like it's weird.
Well, there's been a few episodes that's been like really
Yeah.
perfect almost. So whatever. But yeah, so yeah, if you're feeling better about the season now.
Feeling better.
Yeah, a little
Ups
better.
and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going
Ups
back and
downs
forth
for
a little
sure.
bit.
But hey, this was a relative up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, next episode. Yeah, well, hopefully more tournament stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah. I wonder if Saitama is actually gently going to leave like a coffee cup in the shot. I don't know. Maybe. Could happen.
Yeah. What
Could happen.
what coffee do anime characters drink?
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious.
Boss.
Boss. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Will they have anime Tommy Lee Jones show up and give it out? Since he used to do like
Has there
the ads.
been an anime Tommy Lee Jones?
Has there been
should
an
be.
chat? Has there been an anime Tommy Lee Jones ever? Just anytime. Let us know.
You know what though?
What?
You know who I really want to see in this tournament?
Goku?
Better than Goku, and it's not Naruto.
Orochimaru?
Vegeta.
Or not Naruto?
Kazuma. How well would Kazuma fit in One Punch Man, dude?
It'd be funny if
Just like one episode, dude. Guest star. Special guest star Kazuma.
It'd be funny if he ripped off his shirt and jacket, and then Saitama ripped off his outfit as
Yes,
well.
dude.
That'd be really funny. That could be a good bit.
Anime guest stars, dude.
Oh, right.
Like what was it last week? It was the off weeks, right, or something?
It was a gold week.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a holiday.
Okay. Well, there needs to be like a crossover week where they just have these one-off, non-canon even anime episodes where like people just pop up in each other's animes. How fun would that be?
Yeah. I'm sure it would not be a licensing nightmare whatsoever. They would
Business and money always getting
But
in the way.
the only crossover is Yakuza in all of
Yakuza and
them.
everything.
Yeah.
Would Yakuza work in Dragon Ball Heaver? Or in
Yes,
Naruto? Like-
yes, but I really think the way One Punch Man has been built up, like I think it
Okay.
just makes sense because you have Metal Bat too, who's like kind of got that.
Would definitely, I don't disagree. It
Vibe,
definitely
you know?
fit in the world of One
Yeah.
Punch Man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're starting to talk about crossovers here,
Sorry,
so
I'm
I
sorry,
think it's time
I'm
to wrap it up. So thank you to everyone who submitted questions again. Thank you to both of you for joining me this late. Again, apologies. Stuff just ran a little bit later today. Stream went a little later. had some more things to shoot. We're only like about 15 minutes late, but that's also why we opted not to do clips for this episode because we're already running behind. But assuming we're on time next week, next Tuesday, 9:30, I think it's happening. I think we're all here next week, right?
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
There will be a
As
week.
far as I know.
Yeah, there is a week coming up where I don't think some of us will be here. We're gonna figure out scheduling with that as well. So one more week. We have one more week to buy that. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again for joining us. And until next time.
Yatta!